However, note, maths gives you a fundamental to how to think, right? And in a problem-solving environment, like in the STEM environment, it's all about your ability to think. So that is some of the benefits that you having a maths background will also give you. Then I go to technology, right? In our current environment that we are in, technology cuts across all areas, right? I think nobody right now in our current generation can say that you can have a meaningful business without the power of technology, right? So, what if you have you are selling a product, right, and you need 10 salespeople to sell 10 items, right? Technology magnifies that and gives you the ability to scale, right? So technology is the foundation right now for everything that we do in our particular environment. You can learn how to build the technology, right? And that also comes with STEM. From a software development perspective, from an architectural perspective, there are various opportunities and various ways you can scale, right? But you having the technology also gives you the power to do something new. And it makes it a business for you, right? So that is data for technology. Am I missing something? Engineering, right? The ability to both or put together one particular item or merge one thing to another. You know, math is 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Engineering is 1 item plus 2 items combined together, right? Gives you a basis for you to build what you want to build, right? So whether I want to build technology, I want to build a bridge, or I want to make a new shoe, engineering comes to play. And putting all this together puts you in a unique position. One, grow yourself in those particular areas, whether that be system development, a technologist, engineering, a mathematician. It makes you or puts you in a unique position. So you don't need to be nerdy, but it's good for you. And put it that way.
You don't need to be nerdy. It does put you, with the right standing, puts your foot, always in the door.
Yeah.
Has that always been the case for you? You have done science, but has it always been the case? All of the 4 pieces coming into play in your life and helping you get to head of solutions and even more, I believe.
Yeah, so it has, but that is not the only thing you need, right? So as a business leader, you also need to learn how to sell, right? And you either getting a strong partner to help you manage your business and sell, or you acquiring that particular skill yourself, right? So you understand this. So you see a lot of science, technical people around, right? Partnering with business people, right? Business are not technical, but they have the ability to sell. They have the ability to raise money. They have the ability to move the business from one particular area to another. It's okay to build, right, and to be technical, but if you want to manage a business or be a leader in a particular way, I mean the best, the only academy we have in the country, you know what I'm saying? So that's the best you can get. Blood B for life, it comes naturally.
No comment.
I know, but I mean, yeah, it's always a blood B, So, I mean, I entered the job market quite early, straight after senior secondary school, and that was because I had started learning things about computers earlier on before I entered secondary school. There was this old book computers, and I needed to use computers. So I volunteered to work with them, and then they were a startup, software development house. So I learned a lot. They taught me system development those times, COBOL and BASIC. Those are old languages. I went with them for sales pitches, right? Because it's a startup, they needed business, and that is what set me on the path, right? So you've learned system development, right? A client will ask you to do networking, so you need to learn it. You have to do presentations, you need to learn it, and so on and so on. Okay, fast forward that 2 years later, I had to leave to school. When I entered university too, that's Valley View University, because I already knew some of the stuff, I was appointed as a system administrator, system developer. We went through a whole journey of transforming the schools, processes, digitizing them in a particular way, making them a little efficient. So yeah, we went through that journey. It was also an experience. So all this experience keep building up. Then I get a contract at one of the mining houses, who were at that time doing a merger, that's Anglo Ashanti, and as a consultant to help them efficiently manage their processes. So that also gives you a particular knowledge. And all these things are building up, right? You know a little bit about education, you know a little bit about system development. Actually, I knew a lot about system development. I know a little bit about networking. I know how to sell. Then I keep moving. Fast forward that I had a contract with something supported by the World Bank with public sector, that's government, right? And all these are based on the fact that, we know you can do it, right? So we are in a particular project, or, wow, our organization is not making money, or we are not efficient. Let's look at who can help us. And then you come as a recommendation, or you come as a, somebody has seen your work before, so he recommends you to that particular opportunity. So that's for government. Then I went into mainstream 9 to 5 or mainstream corporate work. I'm starting with one of the telcos. I also helped launch one of a 4G network within the country. Did some couple of work across Africa for telcos. And then I'm now with Absa. I entered Absa actually as head of solutions and innovations. At that time, we had a whole what we call RISE, or what we call incubator program that we need to manage, right? There's something around our transformation, data transformation journey. I mean, it has been an interesting journey, for case in point, but all those experiences you pick up builds you up for something better. And now as a technology leader, you don't necessarily need to code. You can if you want to, because you need to understand the fundamentals.
Right.
But you need to make technology decisions that can help the business grow. And that's where I find myself currently. Yes.
You need to make technology decisions that makes the businesses grow.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, let's take a step back.
Okay.
There are a few things that you've highlighted, which I want us to, discuss some more on.
Okay.
Startup versus, an already established firm.
Yeah.
What sort of led you to the decision of joining the startup, and why? And now at this time, you've joined an Absa or this already established businesses.
Okay. Okay. So interesting. A startup gives you the opportunity to grow in a particular way, right? And case in point, there's a lot of experimentation that happens during a startup, right? There's a lot of things that you learn during the startup. Note, in an established organization, we have defined rules for individuals, right? So, case in point, you can have somebody in charge of service excellence, or say support, somebody in charge of, let's say, database administration for those who the techies out there, somebody in charge for, let's say, governance, or let's say compliance, right? In a startup, you can be one and everything else, right? So it gives you the opportunity to learn bits and pieces of everything. You were not going to be a lawyer in a startup. However, you would understand what it takes to take a product to, let's say, a regulator, right? And even how to write a paper that will take you to the regulator, right? And that is good for your career as a upcoming professional, right? Because you've done it before. Now, in an established organization, right, it's all about people, processes, and technology. It's already established. You've learned their lesson, right? They understand that if you do this, it will fail, right? They've already gone through the experimentation, right? So they are laid down procedures and processes. It's a discipline that you need to follow, right?
Okay.
You have to work with a lot of people across the globe, different time zones, coordinating a lot of activities, right? So it's a little structured. So it depends on what the person wants and at the stage the person is in his or her career, right? Then you make the decision. If you want the exploration of learning a lot of things at the same time, a startup is good for you. If you want a structured environment where everything is prim and proper and you are also secure, right? An established organization is also very good for you.
How do you make the decision if you're faced with it? Because that's the dilemma most of us will face. Sure. Fresh out of school, very good. Okay. Then I'm deciding.
Okay. Startup?
Should I join a startup or I should join an established firm? So help us.
No problem.
Out of this dilemma.
Okay. So this is what I would consider. Right? I will not make the final decision, but I will tell you what to consider.
Right. What to look out for.
Good. What kind of startup it is? Right? Is it a one-man army, or they actually have venture funding? Right. So venture funding puts you on a straight and narrow because you have people who have given you their money to run a business, right? So it's a structure in a particular way, right? So that's number one. So that's for a startup. are you aligned to what they want to produce? Because note, join a startup is a risk, right? So when they grow and they bloom, right, are you in their books to be considered? Right? So that's what, is there an opportunity for me to grow in that particular environment? It's easier for me to be an MD or CTO at a startup than it is for me to be in a structured organization.
Yes.
Right? So that is what I'll consider. And what do I want to learn? Right? Am I just entering that particular place because I'm fresh out of school, I need something to do? If so, then I would take the established because I'm just there for money and there for time, right? Or I actually believe in their mission. If their mission is to make the world a better place, that's what I believe in, I would go with them.
Right.
Good. Now, in an established organization, I'll consider similar. However, I know that I may, in a year's time, the organization may not go bankrupt. Right?
Okay.
Because it's
So that's
structured,
security.
you got security, you've got structure, and yeah, you are safe, in quotes. But you being a structured organization, also note that there are a lot of things that you will not know.
Okay.
Because your role is defined, you cannot crisscross easily. You can, but not easily, right? But in a startup, you can learn that. So usually I say that, and from my career, it was because I joined a startup earlier, I learned a lot of things, right? Which have made me a better person in corporate right now, right?
Okay.
That is me. Right? It may be different from somebody else. I mean, if you have the opportunity to join, if your goal is to join a corporate institution and be a straight and narrow, experience counts, so it's better that you join it early. But it depends on the person's personal decision and personal choices.
Awesome take there.
Yeah.
But this is a case where I want to start a business. We're saying emerging businesses
That's
in
nice.
STEM.
Yeah.
What should I consider?
That's interesting. That's very, very, very good, right? Very, very interesting. And I get some of these, from what I said, and as an organization, we need to make some of these decisions when a business comes to us or there's a new product or service that we need to launch, right? One, I'll look for a strong business case, right? So I'm telling you, me sitting at the other side, what I look out for. A strong business case. So your idea that you want to start, is it scalable and sustainable? Let me explain. Now, if you come and tell me you want to start a store, for lack of a better word, right? Or for lack of a specific example, you want to start a store, right? And I ask you, okay, how many items are you expected to sell in a particular period? You should be able to answer that particular question. So that's what you should consider. What can I sell? What I can sell, is it going to be enough? I don't have a growth plan which says that, oh, in 6 months or in 8 months, I'll make enough money to sustain myself as a business, right? So first of all, you need to do a strong business case, right? You need to ask yourself the question that this particular thing that I'm entering, is it sustainable? Can I scale it, right? If it's an app that you are developing or it's a business that you are starting, first of all, is it sustainable over the long term, right? So that's what you need to ask yourself. Because no, there are bills to pay. Running technology platforms doesn't come cheap, right? So that is number one. Number two, that is linked to the product and service that you are offering, right? Have I identified the right product or the right service to offer? It's not everything, and you see, Ryan, most of the times, whenever I think of something, let's build an app, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be an app for when I want to start up. I'm sure there's even one, there is, to keep track your activities. But anyway, have you done the research to back that my consumers or the people in my environment actually need that particular product or service or the app, right? Then some of these things, it's not rocket science, it's difficult, but it's not something very difficult. There are steps you have to follow, or there are questions you need to ask yourself to answer these things, right? The right products, the right environment, based on your survey, based on your research work, talking back about the science that we spoke about, right?
Yeah. Scientific methods.
Scientific methods, yes. I'm sure some of research and scientific method, and we're doing a project work, and this lecturer, he's worrying us, why giving me this mark? But that's where it comes to play, basically.
Yeah.
Your ability
Very
to
useful.
do, very, very useful. Very useful. Your ability to do the research and know that, do my customers actually need this product? Do they need this app? Or do they need this product or service? Right? Yeah. So that's that. And as I said, once that is identified, link it. Is it sustainable? Can it make money for me? Can I sustain myself? Is it something that I want to go into for a long term? Do I want to wake up and starting a business is not easy, right? No. It's not easy. It's not that complicated also. You just need to be you need to be committed to it. In case there's a problem, right? Would I wake up at 4 a.m. and try and debug it, right? When I'm writing the code and it's not working, do I have the conviction to follow it through to ensure that I can deliver what I need to deliver, right? So for me, these are the two things you need to consider when starting a business. The right product and service, based on your research, research is key. Is it sustainable over a long period of time?
Scalability and sustainability
Exactly.
for any business idea or
Any
business case
idea.
or model you're trying to pitch.
Yeah.
We're learning something here. Let's go to our questions. So we're straight into Facebook. And we have a question from Dixon Kafuchi. I hope I got your name right. How do you start a business without having funds?
Okay. That's interesting, right?
Yeah, thank you, Dixon, for that question.
So let me give you a practical example of some of the stuff that I've worked in previously, right? As an investor or as a venture capitalist, not myself, but if you are going for funding, they invest in things that are important to them, right? So, case in point, and just to give you an idea, if you look at the SDGs from the UN, that's the sustainable goals, right? Things around the environment, things around sustainability, things around poverty reduction, even in the country, things around poverty reduction, women empowerment,
gender mainstreaming.
Yes, there are funding available for those things, right? So if you have a product or service which touches a core responsibility of an authority, that's being a government or that's being an agency, right? You could write your business case in such a way that you can apply for funding, right? So case in point, assuming you had a product which employs, let's say, case in point, 500,000 people, generates revenue for the country and also for yourself, empowers women, right? And expands in terms of SME, help SMEs grow and provide a lot of jobs and opportunities. You would get that funding, right? In a particular, based on where you go. And there are a lot of donor agencies, not to mention names, but from a governmental position, from an agency position, you would get funding, but it's not easy. You need to write the document, right? It's not a matter of I'm coming to see, right? You do have done your research, you would have made your analysis, you would have put numbers to it. Your numbers would have to be verifiable, and from an investment perspective, when we see these particular things that you've done the work, okay, this idea can scale. We would give you the funding for it, basically. Yeah.
It's a very interesting question. Let me lay a bit of a foundation.
Okay.
You have a scalable, sustainable business idea, but it tends to be fraudulent.
Okay.
How do you manage that? So Nana Korang Soja, also from Facebook, is asking, how do we deal with the influx of fraudulent activities regarding fintech and telco or telecommunications in Ghana, around the mobile money and things like that? How do we deal with this?
Fair. One is regulation, and our regulator have been very, very active in the fintech space and the whole financial ecosystem space, right? So it's becoming very, very more formal or more formalized when you are starting anything around financial inclusion. It's good. I mean, that assures that whoever you are dealing with is fit for purpose, right? And the person, your funds are safe and backed, right? Case in point, Absa as a regulated entity, it's a place you can trust your money with, right? So, case in point. So that is one thing, regulation. Two, you need to do your background checks, right? You don't, there's a lot of, for lack of a better word, people trying to make a quick buck, right? So you need to do your checks, right? I.e., whether check from a regulatory authority, whether these particular people are regulated to do what they say they can do. Are they deposit-taking institutions, right? Are they backed? Where are they located? And no, you cannot do the location based sometimes, but do your fact checking, do your reviews, do your fact checking. That's the best way to go around these things, right? And from a regulatory perspective, most of these institutions would be found on the regulatory website, right? Telling you who's regulated, where your money is safe as and where your money is not. And that helps a lot, basically.
That's an interesting question. I'm just beginning to think, was it from you to Insia? when we had him. Well, I'm throwing back question back to you.
Okay.
Which was, what do you think about Ghanaian tech workers working online and sometimes depriving the local markets
of
one. Tech skills? Yes.
Yes, that's one. Okay. So one advantage is being in a STEM field, right? Is that and especially technology, is that location doesn't really matter, right? It matters, but it doesn't really matter, right? There's a lot of recruitment agencies, legal recruitment agencies, not the illegal ones, online right now, recruiting for system developers, architects, consultants, project managers, and all, right? And these are remote works. It's not like they're taking your money and you have to go there. You're sitting in the, not comfortable because you'll be under pressure, right? You're sitting in your office or in your home and providing services for institutions outside the country, right? The money is good. Sometimes they pay better. Actually, most of the time they pay better than the local industry because of forex, and sometimes the scalability of that particular institution. Imagine working for, comparing somebody paying locally against somebody paying in Google or Amazon, right?
Right.
So you're competing on a global scale. Yeah. It grows those particular individuals in a particular way. Note, the exposure you would get from working in all those big financial technology institutions outside the country may not be the same as you get when you are working locally, right? So what I would like to usually advise is that whenever you've gone to gather the knowledge outside, they come and teach us locally so that we can improve and get there, right? So it depends on where you sit. It's case in point. There's no right or wrong answers to this, right? It's based on what the individual wants and based on how well the person is remunerated, basically.
Let me just stand on your last statement,
Okay.
which is when you have gained the experience, come home and help.
Yeah.
This is when you're remote working.
Yeah.
Then there's you go outside
Exactly.
for advanced education.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Somebody had said from Tuesday that it was misleading and it was well, not misleading, but it wasn't serving the purpose. If people go out, they come back as academic, and then we can really get value for why they have gone. So
sure.
What's your take on this, please?
Thank you for that. It depends, right? What did you go and study? If I wanted to study advanced data analytics, right, you can teach me here, right? But our data set is not that big for me to do the analytics that I need to do in that particular way.
When you say data sets,
okay,
please break it down for us.
Sorry.
I know it's a STEM audience, but our parents and some others who may not be familiar.
I totally understand. So, if I'm dealing with data, right, the bigger my data, and also case in point, research work, from a manual perspective, I would have done research work, right, and analyze that data, right, whether that being in Ghana or that being outside. Good. Now, I need a lot of data to do accurate analysis and prediction. Right. If I'm learning from a platform like Google, not to mention names, or a big technology platform which is outside the country, right? It gives me the opportunity to have a large data set which I can practice with, right?
Sample size.
Sample size.
Okay.
Yes. I may not have that sample size because he said it when I'm studying in country, right?
Okay.
So I may build that experience and that knowledge and then come back and utilize it, even though my data size is small. It actually depends on what you want to study, right? There are also some experiences which are purely academic, right? You go there, study it, you come back. Because the environments are a little different, you cannot practice it, right? There are nuances in the environment, but if you can't practice, you can also teach it to somebody else, right? So for me, it's never a lost opportunity,
right,
no matter where you find yourself, right? If you cannot practice it, our institutions also need people to teach those particular skills. Okay. You can also teach it. So it actually depends on what you studied, and I treat by case basis, basically. Yeah.
That's another business you're sharing with us here. There's another question from Nana Kurang Soja. Thank you again, Nana, for another question today. Ghana is lagging behind the developed countries and other developing countries like Nigeria and Rwanda when it comes to technology. How do we bridge the gap between, industry demand and expertise.
Okay, that's fair. So I would like to. That's why we're having some of these programs, right?
That's why we are here to inspire you.
Yeah. I think the value of STEM, right, should drum into the ears of our youth and people who decide to choose careers, right? You can choose any career, right? But kindly note that in the current environment that we find ourselves, no matter what you decide to do, there is a little bit of STEM anywhere you turn, right? So it's a lot of education, right? People demystifying the name STEM, right? People think it's very, very complicated. It's not rocket science, right? It's not that difficult. It's just a lot of dedication, right? You need to be dedicated to it. So some of these programs help. It's basically a lot of education. And people in the universities, the talks we have with them, telling them, oh, enter this particular market, right? Even if you do not find employment within your shores, that is in Ghana, you are still open to explore opportunities outside of country without having to go for a visa, right? So there's a lot of education that I think can bridge this, basically.
I know we've been advocating this, that there's a bit of STEM in everything. Yeah. Let me just play the devil's advocate. Okay. This overemphasis will this overemphasis lead to a burnout? Okay.
I don't necessarily think so, right? And that's a personal opinion, right? What is the level, even though it's overemphasized, what is the level of skill of development that we're emphasizing, right? You can read a book and still be STEM literate, but you cannot practice it, right? The world is moving to a particular area whereby everything is now designed by code for the technology people out there, right? Even infrastructure, or i.e., my ability to build this particular building can be codified, right? Do we even understand the basis as somebody in STEM of what that means? And do we have even the basic skill to even speak about things like this, right? So, yes, overemphasizes may lead to a benefit. What's the skill level? What is the level of developments which we'll call minimum for everybody to be at, right? So if the minimum skills, okay, everybody should have a little bit of development experience or knowledge, right? A little bit of research knowledge, a little bit of mathematical knowledge to a particular skill, right? Then we are on the same playing field, right? So we cannot analyze data the same way.
Let's take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Sure.
Alande. Make I walk you through my everyday life. Busy from the morning light. My to-do list long, shadow fit to overlap. So sharp, turn on mobile app. School fees check, light bills check. Do I'm with speed like a G4 jet. Be at the day, I am not upset. Check, I don't even use checks to the check.
Join the Absa family and make fast, easy, and safe transactions with our digital products. Log on to absa.com.gh. No long tail. We like 'em simple and easy.
Believe me, no long things in my life. Like I'm simple and easy.
Today, the question is no longer, why do we have problems? But rather, how can we spin those challenges into opportunities? This is the revolutionary mindset we, students here at Academic City, are driven by. Academic City, we believe that the challenges of today are nothing like the opportunities of tomorrow. Hence, we're poised for the future. And so we say,
come join us.
Pakuli.
Absa Nyadu.
Oyai Tibatane.
Zafula Nabia.
Viens nous rejoindre.
Brabe Kayan.
As we lead the charge to empower the next generation of future leaders. Academic City University College, redefining university education.
Thank you so much. We were chatting about the burnout and really to what end will technology lead us to. I think we should just pick it up and let our viewers share in this wonderful insight you have.
Sure. So I don't think technology would actually burn out or get to an end as it is, right? However, it will evolve, right? So case in point, your previous technology revolution was an assembly line, right? People in the factory, a line running that we're able to put things together. And then it's evolved over time, right? Now we are in the data analytics, machine learning, AI,
augmented reality, and what have you.
All these metaverse, environments, right? There's always going to be a new technology, right? There's always going to be a new thing, right? And picking back to what I said last year, as technologists and as STEM people, we should be able to already to learn and relearn, right? So whenever we evolve or whenever technology evolves, it should be in a position whereby you can pick up the new slack and make it happen, right? I don't think people 20 years ago, or even people 50 was a thing then. Now we've passed the internet, right? We now have virtual realities sitting on the internet. You have a whole community sitting on the internet, right? The whole NFTs, the whole blockchain technology, people buying assets worth millions, right? Whoever thought that was,
possible.
Yeah, that was possible then. So it will evolve. It will be something new. We may call it something else. Maybe we'll call it STEMership, STEMaverse or something. It's always going to evolve, but we should be ready for it when it comes, basically.
How do we ready ourselves? We were sharing that it's never devoid of challenges or lack of motivation. There's something that is just not making everyone get it.
Cool.
But that's why we're here, so that everyone can get it. Everyone can be motivated to take this journey in STEM. Okay.
So if you want a career with a lot of opportunities, right, take the STEM journey. That's number one. If you're not motivated by anything else, you have to be motivated by the fact that you need to, in quotes, make it in life from a career perspective, right, and from a monetary perspective. It's very rewarding to be in STEM, right? Case in point, when you do your research and you look at the top 10 or top 20 hottest jobs, there's always going to be 10 of them which are STEM related, right? Actually, sometimes the whole 20 are STEM related, right? So if for lack of nothing, right, your lack of financial motivation should be your first step, right? Not necessarily that. You can STEM to make the world a better place, right? I'll leave that to you and how you quantify it as users or as audience, how you can internalize that in terms of using STEM to make the world a better place, right? So that is that. But you also need to be hungry to succeed, right? It's not easy waking up at 4 a.m., right? To debug a code or read a book, right? Or to ensure that that particular product or service that you are churning out to the customer, whether that being an emerging business, is working, right? Or you having hundreds of customer service calls to complain about an issue, right? You need to be ready to succeed, right? That should be enough motivation for everybody, right? Yeah, I want to succeed as an individual, right? I feel that waking up at 4 a.m., not necessarily every day, right? But taking the step to read 1 hour of a programming book or 1 hour of a maths book or doing that particular research would make me succeed and give me the financial benefits that I want in the end. And make the world a better place and make the country also a better place. For me, that is enough motivation to wake up every day and still be in STEM. I sincerely believe that it touches you too if you're not in already. Go to the YouTubes, get your tutorial material, that product that you wanted to build, that you've been dreaming about, that somebody launched it in another African country and made millions, right? Get to it, do your research and make it happen, right? It's not, you have to make it happen at the end of the day. It's not, talk doesn't do the work, right? Make it happen, basically.
Let me use this question to take you back to your consulting days, when you were consulting for, I think, one of the donor agencies, but for government.
Yeah.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service, there are about 8 million Ghanaians who are illiterate, meaning they cannot read, write. Simply put, you know, every modern digital interface built may only target about 22 million.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to get the stats right. However, the question is, how do we build an all-inclusive system that will factor every Ghanaian?
Okay. So every Ghanaian would have basic needs, right? Case in point, one of the financial technologies which came around, right? People didn't only use their mobile phones at a point in time to only do calls, not even SMSs, just calls.
Yes, ma'am.
We noticed that, or the even average person who doesn't read and write noticed that I can do more, or there's value in that particular technology for me, in terms of me having to receive money. Case in point, even on my base, from Absa perspective, we have a lot of semi, I would say literate, but people who cannot read and write, who have the ability to navigate those particular technology, right? So, is it easy enough for people to use, or for the people, was it easy enough for the people to use, or for the people who do not have the complexities of managing a lot of complex stuff? And three, does it provide them value? It needs to be a value add for them, right? So if I know that I will only get my salary, or I can buy and sell, or I can do anything I want from a technological interface, whether that be in a mobile phone or somewhere else, or me having to just clap and something to have my light to go off, right? No matter how unsophisticated or, in quotes, uneducated that I am, I would learn it because it helps me.
Yes.
Okay. So far as it helps me,
we should be fine.
we should be fine.
Well, Kwaku,
Yeah.
I know we're advocating STEM.
Yeah.
Some people have actually are only maybe midway through life and have taken another turn.
Yeah.
Is there hope for any of us?
Oh yes, it's never too late. I mean, it's never too late. Whether that being a self-taught or, but you need to identify what you want. STEM is very, very broad, right? So what do you want? Do you just want to understand science and maths and technology for you to, and engineering, for you to be a better at what you do? You being a businessman or woman, you being that HR person, or you being whatever field that you are in, right? Do you need it to complement what you do, or you want to be a core STEM person, i.e. you want to move into technology and science and the masses, right? You first need to identify that, right? If it's a complementary effort, there's a route that you need to take, right? If you want to make it your core, there's also a route that you need to take. The advantage of you moving from another profession or another field to STEM is that you already have that skill. You can talk and brief it, right? So if you're an HR person, you can talk and brief HR, right? When you come to STEM, right, you can talk and brief HR in STEM, right? So you have the advantage. It's never too late. No skill is wasted, right? So, but you need to make that step. How do you want it? Do you want it as a complement, or you want to move there? Then we can have a conversation.
So let's take those two parts.
Sure.
As a complement, what do you do? Okay.
So as a complement, you are looking at things that helps you do your work better, right? So that's been the general, I don't want to mention a particular product or service, but the ability to sell better if you're a business person, right? So when I go to a client, what can I do? How can I make sure that my business reaches thousands of customers without having to actually spend a lot of time or a lot of money in advertising, right? That is a path that you take. You need to build those particular skills for yourself, or consult somebody who can help you do that, right? Now, if you want to come to STEM proper, i.e. practice it, right? Then you need to learn the developments of the world, right? At least to give you an understanding of the basics of the things that can be built and how it is being built. Your level of thinking in terms of how you analyze data or structure information needs to change, right? You need to be able to cook tea and explain to her, oh, for me to cook tea, point 1, take a cup. Point 2, go and take water. Point 3, you need to be a little systematic in your thinking, right? So that is the various path. Once you understand those logics and algorithms, you are good to go. It's never too late. I mean, there's a 60-year-old who feels that, I mean, after retirement, he wants to enter into the technology field, and he took it. It's now one of the best, not best, but one of the good consultants you can have around, consulting for external parties. Yeah.
Still emerging businesses in STEM. Yeah. Very cool. I know we are drawing the curtain slowly down to the end of today's session. However, Since you're here twice,
Oh no.
please give us your final words. Remember that wonderful question that was asked about space?
I have
The last
forgotten.
you have.
A
Not
lot
a
of
problem.
questions, sure.
No,
What-
but
do you remember it?
I don't myself.
Okay. Okay. So one, our presidency and what a part of what this program is about is for us to demystify STEM, right? One, it's not that difficult, right? As I said, with the right with the right perseverance, right, and the right discipline, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. You don't need a big head. It doesn't matter the color of your skin or how you look, level of education. If you really want to do it, you can get you to make something happen. It's a very rewarding field, right? So that's just to motivate you. Finally, as a skill and also as a mentorship program and also a business, you have to stop talking about the business that you want to do, right? And just actually start doing it, right? So I just encourage everybody, put the team together that you want to put in, right? A lot of people will say, oh, but it needs a lot of money, right? When VC or funders, right, whether that's being an institution or whether that's being individual, sees that there is value to be made or money to be made or value, you have value in terms of the product that you are bringing, they would be ready to bargain. Because as a financier, if you tell me that, oh, if I give you 1,000, you can turn it to 2,000 in the next year or two, yeah, it's an interesting conversation. You understand what I'm saying? So start the business that you want to start. I mean, do the product or service that you want to do. And hopefully next year we can have another interesting conversation and we'll be hearing things, oh, I started that thing which made me $2 million. I'll be like, okay, I consulted, so give me my cut. But we'll have a conversation around that later.
No, Kwaku, because it was twice as nice, we did it twice.
Yeah.
Maybe we might do it thrice. So looking forward to
We'll see.
sitting down with you next year to have even a more
We'll see.
exciting conversation on STEM. And this time round, we spoke about emerging businesses, of course, and in your delivery, you've also touched on the main theme, which is nurturing tomorrow's generation of STEM leaders. Audience, you have been wonderful. You have stuck with us thus far. Please do continue. Even after the sessions, you can still send your comments and your questions to NSMQ page on Facebook and also on the STEM Fest GH page. We're also on Instagram, so you can leave your comments there as well, and we will be sure to pick it. We have been proudly brought to you by Absa Bank, Head of Solutions.
Yes. So, I mean, Absa is here to support. I mean, we support a lot of industries, SMEs, businesses grow. The youth, power. So, I mean, visit Absa. Let's have a conversation. Let's help you grow. We are here to make you prosper, basically. Yeah.
Hey, Kwaku.
All for you.
Yes, and of course, with support from Joy News and Joy Learning. We'll be here for day 6 of the STEM Festival Mentorship Sessions tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Alande. Make I walk you through my everyday life. Busy from the morning light. My to-do list long, shadow fit to overlap. So sharp, turn on mobile app. School fees check, light bills check. Do I'm with speed like a G4 jet. You be at the day, I am not upset. Check, I don't even use checks, city check.
Join the Absa family and make fast, easy, and safe transactions with our digital products. Log on to absa.com.gh. No long thing. We like 'em simple and easy.
Believe me, no long things in my life. Like I'm simple and easy. Easy.
Today, the question is no longer, why do we have problems? But rather, how can we spin those challenges into opportunities? This is the revolutionary mindset we, students here at Academic City, are driven by. Academic City, we believe that the challenges of today are nothing like the opportunities of tomorrow. Hence, we're poised for the future. And so we say,
Come join us.
Kwaku
Nyadu.
Nyadu Batane.
Zalfula na bia.
Viens nous rejoindre.
Brabe Kanyan.
आओ हमारे साथ शामिल हो जाओ.
as we lead the charge to empower the next generation of future leaders. Academic City University College, redefining university education.